Okay, so if I want to take this curtain wall system right here, and let's say I want to add mullions and I want to add a door. So this is going to be a portion of my building entry. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Architecture, Curtain Grid. So definitely follow along with this, okay, on your laptops. So I'm going to start by going center point. And to add those points in, if I want a vertical line, I'm going across the horizontal edges, top or bottom. If I want a horizontal grid, I'm going to go across the vertical lines to start subdividing it. Okay, so that was my midpoint of glass. How wide's a standard door? 3 feet. So I'm going to go 3 feet to this side, and I'm going to go 3 feet to this side because I really want to add in a double door because that seems like a fun thing to do. I'm going to put my next line 2 feet above the base. I'm going to put my next line 4 foot. Let's do a 6/8 door. Well, that would be a 7/0 door. That's fine. So that's a 3/0. Actually, it's a 6/0. So I've got 2 doors. And this is 5 plus 2. So I know the top of my door is at 7. Okay, so it's not your standard 3/0 or 6/0 by 6/8, but it is a 7 foot by 6 foot opening. Okay, and I really wanted that to be 6/8. I can select that curtain grid, and again, since that's not coming in pinned, I could definitely do 4/8 and drop that down. So again, just like anything else in Revit, I can type in a new dimension. It's going to pull those things around for me. But for a standard storefront, I'm totally happy with 7/0 door. Okay, just for grins, I'm going to go ahead and put in one more here, here, and here. And let's do another one here. So I'm essentially dividing that up into different panes of glass. Okay, from here, I can go to my mullion tool. Wouldn't do this just yet. This is just kind of showing you what not to do, but where this is headed. I can go mullions, all grid lines. I can select that, and now I have mullions everywhere where I have a grid line. Cool, but this is a door. So I really don't want somebody to have to hurdle over this or step over that, and I don't want this mullion here in the middle either. So we need to do a little bit more work to set this up so it behaves like we want it to. So first, I want to get rid of this piece right across here that's cutting through that door that I'm trying to open. So to do that, I'm going to select that grid line, and then I'm going to go to Add and Remove Segments. And then I can click once, twice, and now you get something that looks like 2 doors. Cool? The next thing that and this is just because I've used Revit forever and a day, I know that if I want this to be a double door, that's actually a single door that I bring in with 2 panels that open. So I actually want to get rid of this grid line as well and make that one large 6 foot wide by 7 foot tall pane of glass. So I'm going to select that vertical line, add and remove segments, and remove that one. Cool. So at any point, anywhere, I can use that add and remove segment. Like a lot of times you'll see this above the doors to keep the pattern consistent. Add or remove segments, something like that. Oh dear. That, move that one. Just to keep the pattern consistent, a lot of times you won't see that sort of central grid line coming up the top. It's kind of like having a column that bears right on top of the door. It just doesn't look right. So from here, I can go ahead and say mullions, all grid lines, and have all of that stuff. Now I still need to come in and delete this bottom mullion, which is essentially the threshold for the door. Because I don't want people to have to step over that. That would be mean. I'm just going in and zooming in, selecting it, deleting it. And it's worth noting really quick just because I always like to go into this stuff. Which side is the interior? Which side's the exterior? Interior or exterior? This view right here.
Window.
Interior.
That's interior. Perfect. Because that mullion coming out further, I don't want that to my outside. I want that to my inside. And I think I can flip that. Yeah. If I just select, so that line, do you see the dash? It's like a dash, short dash, short dash kind of line right through here. That's the line that represents my overall curtain wall. If I select that, I'll get this little swappy arrow, and that'll let me swap, is this facing inside or outside? Okay, so let me do that one more time. That line, and then there's my swappy arrow. Cool. So let's go back to my 3D view. So I now have this side set up as my exterior. Cool, and that's just flipping where that glass and mullion system is at and where it's working. Okay, this is the mistake that it's like everybody learning Revit has a problem with. And there's a reason why the software works this way, so it's worth taking time to explain that. But if I do door, this is sort of the default mode of thinking, that I would select door and then try and place a door into this curtain wall. Okay, and it does not work. That is because your doors in a curtain wall system typically come from the curtain wall manufacturer. Your doors everywhere else in the building, and of course this room is the perfect exception to that rule, that door came from a door manufacturer, and it was integrated into a curtain wall system that's defining the frame. Okay, usually if you think about the airlock on our building, those doors in the airlock came from the same company that did the curtain wall door, creating the curtain wall system, creating the airlock. Right? So in Revit, in terms of building schedules, I need a door that's in a curtain wall associated with the curtain wall, not with the standard door schedule. Okay, so it is a different system. It is literally saying, okay, this location is not a pane of glass, but it is a set of doors. That's however it is set up. Okay, academically, it doesn't really matter to us a whole lot. Professionally, it's going to matter a lot when you're building door schedules, window schedules, all of those things. It's going to help you put all those in the right place. So the process that Revit uses is essentially replacing panels. So if I'm in a 3D view, this is the easiest way to see this happen. I'm going to move my cursor over to the edge of that panel, and I'm going to use the tab key to toggle to where I'm selecting that specific pane of glass. So I've got that highlighted. I'm going to left click. When I have that, I can now change that panel to anything that I want to that's a different wall type. Right? So for instance, if I wanted that to be brick on CMU, I could replace that with brick on CMU. Don't know why you would ever want to do that, but you could in the software. So it'll let you do that, but it won't let you put a standard door in it. Okay? Which is fully annoying. I get it. Okay? So let me Control Z back out of that. So what we need to do, and again, this is one of my other pet peeves. Everybody needs to do this, and everybody struggles with learning this because it's such a weird concept. It would be great if they would load those doors into the default menu system. Please, my friends at Autodesk, listen to this video, right? It's like since 2014 when I started using Revit, it's never been in there. Been asking for it forever. So what we've got to do, we've got to load that family in. Now, I'm going to guess not all of you have your families loaded, so we'll cover that really quick too, but we'll do that here second. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to Insert, because we're loading in a new family type. So Insert, and then Load Family. And it should take you immediately to English Imperial. That should be where you default to. Quick show of hands if you do not have it going to English Imperial. Everybody's got it? I'm not buying that everybody has it. I'm going to hit Cancel. Insert tab. Load Family. That should take me to, maybe it takes me to Libraries, and then English Imperial. And all of y'all have that. Well, it's just section 1 that's not doing it right then. That's fun. Okay, maybe I taught something wrong in section 1. So under English Imperial, we're going to go to doors. And then of all the weird things, where it should be under curtain wall panels because that's how it works. It's actually underneath doors. And I'm going to load in curtain wall double glass family. Yeah.
I don't have any of those.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking. Okay, so we're going to back up in just a second and show you how to load your libraries in.
Okay. I have English Imperial, just don't like that.
So you have English Imperial, nothing else.
I got structure, precast, and roof now.
That's what I have as well.
Okay, that's what I was expecting you guys to raise your hand for. Yep, nope, I don't have this. Okay, yeah, we'll back up and get to that in just a second then. Okay, so I'm going to load in curtain wall double glass and say open. It looks like nothing happens, but essentially what it's doing is it's taking that Revit family and loading it into my scene. Okay, so now when I select, I'm going to tab select that pane of glass. On my drop down list, I now have curtain wall double glass. So when I select that, it puts that door in for me. And when I look at that in floor plan, it's going to behave like a door, but inside of my curtain wall. Hey, if you do not have that library list, what you need to do is Google. Let's close out of this, open up a new tab, and this is going to be Revit 2022 library. If you'll Google that, you will find this link, Autodesk Revit 2022 content. And you need to download English content for Revit 2022. And that's why it's not installed originally. It's 1.2 gigabytes. That's ridiculous. That's going to download an executable file. In this file right here, rvtcpenu.exe. Close down Revit, install that. It's going to give you all those libraries. Don't do it right now in class because the Wi-Fi in here stinks. Oh, sorry. Should have said that first. Okay. And then also you need to close down Revit to make it happen. But if you're not seeing that stuff from the Imperial Library, that's where you need to grab it. Okay? All right. So we've got basic curtain walls. We've got mullions working. We've got doors and curtain walls. And that's a little bit of a tricky system. But what I want you to think about is, when you get rolling on this, for me to go to architecture, curtain grid, for me to very quickly get things working in this with a little bit of thought to the design, it's actually super, super fast. Okay? And again, in terms of fabrication, I can isolate the mullions, save them out as a stereolithography file, as STL file, have the 3D printer draw those flat, and I can really quickly make a model out of these things as well, because it's going to print those dudes flat. I mean, that's like a 2-minute print to do that window at a 16th inch scale. Super, super fast with 3D printers, okay? So it's a really, really great tool, both to build models and to build these virtual models, to build physical models, virtual models, all that stuff. So we need to cover just a few more things to load up on the content: floors and roofs, okay? Floors are just stupid easy, right? They're floors. I'm going to go to level 1 and just kind of up here. Floor, I've got my standard Revit drawing tools. It's going to default to pick walls. Don't pick the walls. It's going to sort of want to permanently pin the edge of your floor to the edge of a wall. Once you're a Revit Jedi, sure, use it. While you're learning Revit, use the standard drawing tools. Draw in your floor, okay? Just like everything in Revit, it is going to default back to these purpley pink lines. The lines have to be a closed loop. If I am missing this edge, it's not going to form the geometry for me. If it's a closed loop, it's going to be totally happy. So I'm drawing this on level 1. It is 12 inches thick. It is going to project that floor 12 inches down from level 1, wherever that floor went to. Let's see here. There it is. Okay, so it's always going to project down unless I tell it to do something different. At any point in time, I can select that floor. I can say edit boundary, and I can add in an opening, like if I need an opening for something, or if I need a opening for a set of stairs. So up it through, as long as it's still a closed loop, it is totally fine with doing that. Okay? So there's a lot that I can do with it. I'm usually doing floors after walls. I'm getting my walls in place first. I'm putting my floors in next. Okay, because usually those happen to the inside edges of your walls in terms of building 3D content. Not necessarily in terms of construction. Several different ways it can happen in terms of construction. But in terms of 3D modeling, that's usually what I'm doing. So floors, super easy. It's a button. Okay? Roofs are a whole nother story. So I'm going to go to, I'm going to build this in 3D. It's just a little easier to observe it, I think, in 3D. I'm going to go to roof. And once I start drawing a line, it should be telling me that my basic roof, I don't want it on level 1. I'm going to shift this to level 2. And I want you guys to just draw a basic box, something like that, on your screen. And again, easiest to be doing this in an axonometric view, in a 3D view. And just drawing a basic box, okay? So, this gives me 4 lines. Each one of those lines has this little triangular wedge shape by it. As a symbol, what that line means is that that edge defines a slope. Right? So, I know if each of these 4 edges are sloping up, what type of roof am I building? Hip roof. Right? I totally messed those up in the first section, and nobody called me on it until I'd really messed it up, and they said, you know, yeah, it was embarrassing, but I'm good with that. So if I green checkbox that, I get a hip roof. Right? Because every single edge is defining a slope. I'm going to select that roof. I'm going to go edit footprint. I'm going to change this into a gable roof by saying this edge does not define a slope. And this edge does not define a slope. Green checkbox, I now have a gable. Cool? If I need that to be Frank Lloyd Wright, the default is a 912, so your slope is defined as your rise over run. So if I wanted that to be 45 degrees, I would be a 1212, and it's automatically going to make that change. If I wanted it to be Frank, it's a 412, or maybe even a 212. Cool? And essentially, your complexity builds up from there. There's a lot of stacking, a lot of merging, a lot of things that have to happen. We should do like a whole architectural mark elective on how to design a decent sloping roof. Because here in the middle of the country, flat roofs are just kind of a pain. They just don't work really well, and we really don't do a lot in architecture school with defining different roof types. Because typically we do flat roofs on our commercial projects and even our residential projects. And I selected a precedent residential project that also has a flat roof. So sorry, I'm not exposing you to the real world enough. But I'm going to select that roof. I'm going to go back to edit footprint. I'm going to select that edge and say you're not defining slope. Now I have a single sloping roof. And then all the way back down, edit footprint, that edge. And now it is a flat roof. Cool. And same thing, I can select, if I want to, I can continue to modify that and put new pieces on it. Split, trim. So it behaves exactly like Revit always does. Nothing is sloping. Everything's flat. As long as that's what I'm telling it to do. If I come in and tell this, edit footprint, and that I want everything sloping, it's going to create a terrible mess. It's officially a weird roof, but it's capable of forming it, which is kind of cool. Yeah, question? Oh, that was your question. Okay, cool. So in school, often you guys like throw caution to the wind and say, I really want a roof that does this weird thing. Like, right? Now, curved roofs, we'll get there. We'll tackle those Monday because, again, there's a couple of tools. There's a couple of basic tools for that, but I don't want to tackle those right now. But this is a really good time to show sort of how to think about a faceted roof form using, starting with a flat roof. I can select flat roof, and then I can go modify sub-elements. Modify sub-elements lets me edit every corner or every edge independently. Right? So if I go to modify sub-element and I take this edge and pull it up, it's going to break that as an edge. I can take this one and pull it down. And I can take this one and pull it up. And I can start to make these kind of forms. Let's do that again. Modify sub-elements. I can even take that one and pull it down. And then I like drama, so let's go that. Edit footprint. And let's kind of reshape this because drama. Flat. Oh, dear. Continue. Modify sub-elements. Yeah, so I can start working that roof to have these different kind of forms, these different kind of edges through going flat, modify sub-elements. It will do some kind of curvilinear things. Like if I do 2 points on 2 edges and pull them both up, it'll kind of make a saddle shape or a slight dome. But it's much better at making sort of these faceted kind of forms. Also underneath modify sub-elements, I can select that, modify sub-elements. I can add additional points along the edge. And even that gives me, modify sub-elements, additional points that I can start to work with even further. Cool, so it's a really, really good tool to begin working things around. If I am working with that and a set of walls, so if I had a set of walls that were running underneath this, yeah, let's just keep it on curtain wall 1. So I'm just going to do a wall, and here, and here, and here. Just as an idea, right? So that's what I've built right now. Okay? I can select all of those walls, and I can attach them to that roof, and I immediately go to that as well. Okay? Now, if I had built that roof out of, say, a custom component, I would not have had that as an option. So it knows, again, Revit has a certain intelligence to it. It knows that's a wall. Walls are often attached to roofs. I'll lock those things together for you. Right? So it's pretty quick to start building and editing up those kind of forms, those kind of components. Cool. That was walls, that was roofs. We have just enough time. Let's do a quick curved roof here. Ran out of time in the other section, but we can definitely do one here. So let's take, underneath the roof tool, we were using roof by footprint. That's the default. So roof by footprint essentially means we are looking down at a plan view and that it's going to extrude the roof vertically. But I can also draw an elevation and do roof by extrusion. So I can draw any type of line in elevation, and it's going to pull that back across a horizontal plane rather than a vertical plane. Okay? So if I go to roof by extrusion, the first thing it's going to do is ask me for a reference plane. So I need to either have a reference plane or I need a reference object. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to go ahead and choose a reference object. So I'm going to say pick a plane, okay, and I'm just going to pick the edge of that floor right there. Click. It's going to associate that roof with level 2. I can tell it whichever one I want, but let's just go ahead and keep it with level 2. And I'm going to turn show reference plane on so you guys can kind of see that's that edge. If this project had a roof that was kind of shaped like that, which it doesn't, but if it did, you can see it's put that line in the plane of the edge of that floor. Now I know this is going to give me a 12-inch thick roof formed to that spline, and it's going to be sweeping this direction and this direction away from that reference plane whenever I hit the green checkbox. So I could have something like that. Cool? Now notice it does not, that's not a 3-dimensional curve. That is a 2-dimensional curve. It is only curving in a single direction. When I need to get to 3-dimensional curves, that's a whole different monster, totally different task. Cool. So rest of the class period is question and answer on some different things. Going back and doing some more reference plane work if we need to. Other things that might apply to your specific project. When we